Welcome aboard, folks. It was good hearing from John Thomas. He's one of our strategic partners at Top Gun Options, and obviously a fellow naval aviator. So that's always a good guy to follow there. Very, very smart guy, John Thomas. So definitely check out what he has to say. I actually run his Mad Options Trader service over there. So, all right, let's go ahead and get airborne. As you just heard, Renee said, my name is Matthew Buckley. My call sign is Whiz, and my parents did love me. That wasn't my God-given name. I earned that as a call sign flying the FA-18 Hornet for about 15 years. I graduated from the Navy Fighter Weapons School, which many of you know is Top Gun, and I flew 44 combat sorties over Iraq. And that was also, at Top Gun, I was also one of the bad guys. You know, Jester or Viper. I was a bad guy at Top Gun. Well, I was a good bad guy. So, okay, what the hell does that have to do with trading? Everything. I applied everything that I learned flying fighters as a young 23, 24-year-old lieutenant, taught myself about stocks, taught myself about equity options, and this was all before Al Gore invented the internet. So I actually had to read books. So I applied everything I'm going to teach you about briefly today, flying the fighters, having a strategy, implementing tactics, being disciplined, knowing how to manage risk, knowing when to get out of a bad situation before it gets worse, and it worked incredibly hard. And it eventually led me to pop up on the radar of one of the largest volatility arbitrage firms in the country. I was a managing director of strategy for Peak 6 Investments, and then became the founder and CEO of the Options News Network. Many of you watched us. We were essentially the CNBC for options. We shot on the floor of the CBOE and the CBOT every day, giving a behind-the-scenes look into the options world for the average retail investor, and it was an absolute blast. Had a blast, loved it. Unfortunately, or fortunately, Chicago winners best left for somebody other than me, and decided to head down there to beautiful South Florida, where I started Top Gun Options about 7 years ago. We're going in our 7th year of business, training investors, retail options investors of all skill sets. Whiz, I'm a Marine. I don't even know how to spell the word options, all the way up to Jedi Masters who think they're good, and we can make you better. Okay? Real quickly, the 3 portfolios that I manage, I'll show you one of them today. We're going to take a look at a real trade. Obviously, it's Saturday, market's closed, but this trade would be great to open on Monday morning, barring a Sunday midnight Trump tweet that dumps the market. That's always an outside risk right now that we could experience. Here's our 2016 returns in our portfolios. The primary live trade brief returned 125% on risk, $188,000. It's based on a notional $100,000 account. So the urgent alert and weekly options, we do trade weekly options every Monday at 1 o'clock. Last Monday, we put on 2 bull put spreads on the S&P 500, and if you held them till Friday, you made 39, let me round up, you made $4 grand on about 10 grand in risk. I'm going to show you that I have trading SOPs, and one of my SOPs, standard operating procedure, says I don't want to risk more than 5% of my model portfolio on any one trade. Why 5%, Whiz? Why not? That's me. You might be 2.5%. You might be 10%. Whatever you are, whatever you do on your side of the computer in your bunny slippers is your own business. So this is and here's the embarrassing portfolio. You ready? My most conservative, which is our accelerated retirement, returned a lowly 101% return, or about $1 even. Okay? Pretty damn good, folks. 2016 was without a doubt one of the best years in my career, and I'll tell you why. And I went out on a limb, staked my reputation on it, and now the phone won't stop ringing for interviews. Why? We'll get to that in a second. Now, I know there's a little camera-looking thing on the top of your viewing screen right here where you can take pictures. I think they go right to your desktop. So you're going to want to take some pictures of the trade plan and also the methodology here. It's not rocket surgery, folks. You can tell I had a big marketing department, right? Top Gun Options. And then the methodology we hear works. It's copied and pasted right from the military. The average retail trader, the hundreds of you in this room right now, are very, very tactical. You get up, put your bunny slippers on, drag a cup of coffee, and you, yeah, exactly, Bob. I don't know if you're wearing bunny slippers, but I'm not peeking. So The average retail trader watches CNBC. They see a guy with good hair and a good suit, nice, handsome guy, and they say, wow, I don't know what Tesla is, but this dude, tall, handsome, and I'm going to listen to him and buy Tesla. And then a week later, you're broke, or that trade, implodes on you. You're very tactical. You don't take a strategic and an operational view before you trade. Here's what we're going to do, and here's what you're going to learn here at TGO in my live trade briefs, 4 of them throughout the week. We'll start off with about a 15-minute strategic brief. What's going on over in China? What's going on in Japan? Did Bank of Japan Governor Kuroda still do some quantitative easing? What's going on in Russia? What's going on with oil? What's going on in Europe? Did Mario Draghi do this? I'm hearing some rumors about Greek defaulting on their debt again, blah, blah, blah. Remember that summer, was it 2 years ago? Every other day, it was Greek news. Oh, my God, they're going to kick us out of the euro. Market would implode. No, we're going to make some reforms. Yay, the market would rally. Remember all that stuff? And remember oil last December and January? My God, man, oil down below 30 bucks, the market was imploding. And you were probably sitting there going, what does that have to do with my Amazon position? Everything. Okay? So I'll give you a strategic brief, and then I'm going to break it down and get operational. What does that mean? We peel back the onion one layer and go domestically. What's Janet Yellen have to say? What did she say in her last Fed meeting? How are core durable goods looking? How are earnings looking? What's going on with the repeal of Franken-Dodd with Steve Mnuchin? Well, he's got to be confirmed first. All of the domestic, economic, and political things going on. After that, now, ladies and gentlemen, this is the only time we can get tactical and trade. Does that make sense? It might seem obvious, but to a lot of people, it's not obvious. Okay, now, we take this methodology and we're going to apply it right now because trading is a form of combat. And I'm allowed to say that, folks. When you bury 11 of your best friends or 11 of the finest men this country's ever seen, you know what it takes. You know what it takes in combat to win. When you think about trading, somebody's going to win, folks, and somebody's going to lose. And which side do you want to be on? I know what your obvious answer is, but if you're not doing the methodologies that I'm briefly going to cover here, or doing the things that I'm doing in my trading to produce triple-digit returns, you're doing it wrong. Here we go. Write this acronym down because these are the areas. Here's how lazy I am. I changed 2016 to 2017 and just added underneath a couple of these letters. To fear 2017. These are the areas that are going to move the markets. These are the areas I'm trading. These are the areas we're making money. You ready? The T in to fear is this. Ladies and gentlemen, I was actually the only financial training firm. There was a couple other heavies in the industry that predicted what I'm going to tell you. Jeffrey Gunlock from Double Line Capital. He only manages a $95 billion hedge fund. And then there was one or two other guys who did this. Trump, Top Gun options throughout the fall. A lot of my members like, Whiz, you okay? You seem a little bit depressed. The entire fall I was depressed. You know why? Because I knew we were being lied to. I give speeches around the country, folks, and around the globe, motivational speeches, keynotes. I listen to people. Whether it was CEOs or frontline salespeople at the cocktail reception after my speech, they'd look to their left, look to their right, and go, hey, I'm voting for Trump, like whispering, like somebody was going to run up and hit him with a shovel that they said that. I knew the polls were lying. And I knew out of the two people running, which one would be better for Wall Street. Hillary Clinton, more regulation, more Franken-Dodd, hate evil bankers, hate everybody, or Trump, the guy who lives 2 blocks away from Wall Street. It was sickening to me how you were being lied to. Not my members. I'm going to show you some of the gains my members made because of my call and the election. And the same idiots who said at Citigroup, folks, the day before the election, Citi, a guy who probably makes $100 million a year in bonus, wrote a report that said Clinton's going to win running away, but my God forbid if Trump did win tomorrow, the market's going to implode 5%. I did a special video. I said, the man's an idiot. Trump is going to win, and the market's going to rally 5 to 10%. Who was right? You're listening to them. Matter of fact, a JP Morgan trade I closed right after the election that I had on for about 15 months, $35,000, average of $2,300 per month. I'm going to show you some of these Goldman Sachs positions. One of my members is up, he took half off. He was up $135,000 on my Goldman Sachs trade. And I'll show you. We'll get into that in a second. Now, the O in 2 fear is oil. Okay? Oil. You remember last December and January when oil going through 30 meant end of the world, cats and dogs living together, mass hysteria. We have to keep an eye on oil. Iran's starting to launch bottle rockets again in defiance of their agreement. Trump yesterday, offhanded comment said, Rouhani said you better blah, blah, blah. He's like, he better be careful. Oil. Iran wakes up one day and strings a bunch of mines across the Straits of Hormuz, which I sailed through. Oil goes to $300. Is your portfolio hedged for an event like that? Mine is. That's the O into fear. Now, F in fear is the Fed. Ms. Yellen is probably, if she's lucky, maybe going to eke out 2 to 3 interest rate increases this year. Why do you care? Write this down. There's going to be a couple Whizisms I'm going to throw out real quick. When interest rates are high, stocks will die. When interest rates are low, stocks will grow. But, okay, Wiz, then why are you? Guess what stocks are immune to that? The financials. I have been telling my folks to get long the financials since the fall. I said Janet's going to get an interest rate increase, and not only is she going to do that, Trump is going to win. You're smoking crack. No, actually everybody else is. He's going to win, and he's going to repeal, gut, destroy Dodd-Frank. He's going to lower corporate tax rates, which means that goes right to the bottom line. It could not be more of a perfect storm for financials. Goldman Sachs is my #1 financial position. My #2 is JP Morgan. I currently have a JP Morgan trade I'll show you that's been on for 8 months. That's up $25,000. And it's on about $6,000 in initial risk. Anybody like making $3,000 a month on a JP Morgan position? We do. My third is Morgan Stanley. I'm out. I don't like, Morgan Stanley that much. But check this out. I want you to take a look at this slide. And where's my little pointer dude here? Look at this. Mike, I have 5 Goldman Sachs long call diagonals. And this is since October. I'm up $9,000 net. That's a 25% return. Harry, you ready for this? I have booked $60,000 on the 20 Goldman Sachs leaps over 3 months. Thanks, Wiz. You're welcome. Al, for all of you sitting here going, dude, I'm not swinging 20 contracts. I'd be lucky to get, I might do 1. Al, Goldman Sachs up $8,000 on 1 contract since October. And here's Mike. So Mike is up $64,000 on 10 contracts since September. Diane, $36,000, 5 contracts. Here's my big guy, Mike here. Because Mike was up here, he's like $64,000. I'm like, Mike, I thought you were up like $111,000 last month. He's like, no. Well, the peak was $135,000 on 20 contracts. And then I love hearing my own Whizisms get thrown back in my face. Pigs get slaughtered. So I harvested half in early January. This member on 1 trade made $135,000. Chuck, your weekly options trades since I got on board in September. He's just doing weekly options. $21,000. I'm averaging $1,100 with your weekly option service. So, and again, these were taken literally the other day, Tuesday morning, when I surveyed. Scott, I'm up $8,200. Facebook, SPX, and Amazon. John, I would like to thank you, Wiz. Thanks, TGO, and your mentoring. I've netted over $15,000 this month. Thanks for all you do and your teachings. And I wrote these are not current because I didn't get a chance to update my slides, this slide, since Tuesday. These numbers are higher. Why? Goldman Sachs has gone up this week. So, and here's something that's funny. When I give my strategic and operational brief, I absolutely get political. And according to statistics, maybe half of you in this room would hate my politics. It's unfortunate because when I'm going to give you a quick strategic brief, sometimes I get people who go, dude, get to the trade. I don't need your political crap. And that's when I respond and go, I don't need you to be a member. Why don't you just split right now? If you don't like listening to politics, do you like making money? Yeah, read what David said. I hate your politics, but I love the way you print money. Thanks for your service. Best money I've spent so far in my trading career. So for all the people who don't think that politics drives the markets, where have you been for the past 3 months? Now, I'm embarrassed. Here's why I'm embarrassed. I recommended Goldman Sachs that trade in September, October, November. I didn't get filled, me, because I was too cheap. I did not want to go I didn't want to pay full price for that muffler. I did not go all the way up to the ask. I know market makers. They don't need any more money from me. So my lowly Goldman Sachs trade on 5 contracts is up. Again, this is from Tuesday. I think it's up to 95 or about 10 grand. So this is from December. My Goldman Sachs trade that I finally got filled on is up 10 grand in 2 months on 5 contracts. Awesome. And we're going to get into that here in a little bit. So the E in to fear is Europe. Everybody remember the Brexit? Not really. Exactly. It was like a 2-day event, 3-day event, and we got over it. We made $20,000 trading volatility going into it. Uncertainty, right? The vote was going to be a coin flip. They might leave, they might stay. What do you think? I don't know. Didn't care. If I actually got it wrong, I'm like, I think they'll probably stay, especially after Obama flew over there and poked them in the chest on their own soil and said, you better not vote to leave because, you might have to go to the back of the bus, so to speak. And I think the Brits took offense to that and said, oh, yeah, now we're leaving. It didn't matter that I got that call wrong. I was at 50 Delta. I'm like, I don't know, the polls say this. It didn't matter. We traded uncertainty. We got long vol going into the vote, and as soon as it was like, it looks like they're going to, I got out of them. And we got bearish on volatility. So we're going to trade Europe. And then the other E into fear is earnings. Okay, we just got through earnings seasons. It was actually pretty good. Out of the past 5 or 6 earnings seasons, they've been kind of crappy, right? Now we're starting to see earnings recover. The A into fear is Asia. China. I could not have been more long-term bullish on China. I know on paper they're the quote world's #2 economy. No, they're not. I guarantee that all that data is rearward facing. Kind of like when the government says we're in a recession. They didn't wake up that morning and say we're in it as of today. They do what? Based on the past 6 to 8 months of data, we found out that we were in a recession 8 months ago. Same thing with China. I believe right now, currently the world's #1 financial superpower. They're our banker, in case you don't know that, by the way. My buddy Rick Santelli, when he'd go to do a shoot for his debt offering, I'm like, hey, Ricky, what if nobody shows today? What if the Chinese decide to go, you know what, we're not buying any more of your debt, and by the way, we want our cash back. Whiz, that's my worst nightmare. Now, after the election, and I'll show you write this symbol down, FXI. Foxtrot X-Ray India. That's our large cap China ETF. That's their Dow, right? That ain't going out of business. But after the election, here comes the tweet Trump trade war talk. Oh boy, FXI starts to roll over a little bit. A U.S. naval ship doing research, taking acoustic soundings with a drone, was pulling up their drone. Chinese warship sailed up, picked the thing up out of the water and stole it. I'm like, okay, out of FXI for now, folks. This is what's great about trading options. We can be nimble. We can get out. I'll show you a screenshot of one of my traders who's like, Wiz, you nailed when to get out of the China trade. I banked $5 grand. And then what did I do? It's been quiet lately. There hasn't, matter of fact, yesterday on the phone, what did the president do? He affirmed the one China policy. Remember all the idiots and libs in the media freaking the hell out that he talked to the president of Taiwan? He's broken decades of diplomatic whatever by taking a call from the, yeah. And then tomorrow you didn't hear any of those people praising him for saying, no, we agree with the one China policy, whatever. My point being is we got back in FXI. Remember, Trump is a negotiator, folks. He's going to start all the way out here. They're going to start all the way out here. And if any relationship is ever going to work out, you meet in the middle. So for all the initial bluster, it's time to get long Asia. Now, before I go to the next slide, I wear 2 suits at Top Gun Options, figuratively and literally sometimes. I wear a flight suit, meaning there are some things that make my skin crawl. That just as an American, as a former naval aviator, why are you doing this? And then the other suit I wear is a $6,000 Armani. That's a joke, I don't, but from the movie Wall Street. This is when I put on my Gordon Gekko mentality and go, I don't care. So yes, I am long-term bullish on Russia. Two of our best trades last year featured in CNBC was Brazil, the EWZ, and Russia. If you're not getting long, first of all, a world leader who does whatever the hell he wants to do, there's some Russians that might be in trouble in Crimea. Okay, we're going to invade it. Kind of like what Hitler said about the Sudetenland, but I digress. Hey, Eastern Ukraine? Probably going to take that over too. Shoot down a civilian airliner? Hell yeah. What did Obama and Merkel do? Nothing. The aid we gave to the Ukrainians was an airplane full of blankets and meals ready to eat. And Obama wouldn't even let a U.S. Air Force plane fly that over because he didn't want to inflame Putin anymore. They put it like a civilian jet. What an idiot. Anyway, so this trade makes my skin crawl. It's disgusting for me to be long Russia and be bullish for all the reasons I just gave you. And now he's best friends with Trump. Look at the performance of the RSX, folks. But at the end of the day, as a portfolio manager, I don't give a shit. I have to set aside my flayed suit and go, my mission objective as a portfolio manager is to potentially print money. So this is what I call a hold your nose trade, to be honest with you. Ugh. But it's working. Take a screenshot of this. This is my 7-step proprietary trade plan. Used it over Iraq in combat situations, adapted it to Wall Street. 7 steps. Step 1. What is your strategic mindset? The hell's that mean, Whiz? Well, you can be 4 things, and that's it. You can be bullish. You can be bearish. You can think the market's going to be volatile, like, oh my God, remember that? What was it, like 6 months ago? We were having these up 300, down 150, down 300, up 400 days. That's volatile. Or you can be neutral. Take a look at the chart. We will in a second here. The S&P 500 from December through the inauguration. It literally moves sideways, except for the in between Christmas or Kwanzaa or whatever the hell you celebrate, and the New Year's, because it's a dead week in the market. I think Steve, Guido, and Rob were trading that week. No volume, and the market pulled back a little bit. But essentially, that was a neutral market. And then you can have variations of it like this. For example, my strategic mindset I'm going to tell you today is cautiously bullish. Okay, Wiz, now you sound like a politician. No, I sound like an options trader. I'm bullish, man. You cannot talk this market down. Even Goldman Sachs last week put out a report like, Trump's starting to run into reality of, they're just pissed that they got the election call wrong and that 4 of their heavies are in the cabinet or senior advisors. All of these same people that got the election wrong, who also told you to, quote, sell the inauguration, are trying to talk this market down. So I'm bullish, but I'm throwing it cautiously in front of it because anything can happen, man. A couple weeks ago, I'm like, hey, I don't trade weekly options over the weekend. Anything can happen. That weekend, the immigration ban, the market opened down Monday morning because all the tech companies were creeped out and our employees. And so cautiously bullish means that. I'm bullish, but I'm hedged. Once I know what my strategic mindset is, now identify the target, what I'm going to trade. The target is the trade. Today we're going to trade the S&P 500, SPX. And I'm going to tell you why I trade SPX and not SPY. And I'm going to save you money. Step 3 is the most important part of my trade plan. If you've been clubbing in the Bahamas for 20 minutes, sit up and listen. Commit criteria is literally answer in 3 to 5 sentences, why are you committing capital to this trade? Why are you in it? For those of you who have ever been in sales, this is your elevator pitch. You and I get on the elevator together, 30th floor. By the time we get to the lobby, I need to be looking at you going, holy crap, why am I not in that trade? I'm an idiot. If you can't look at every position in your portfolio today and ripple off in a not think about it, have to think about it. If you can't ripple off why you're risking 5, 10, a grand, 100,000 on a trade, what the hell are you doing in it? Step 4 is the tactic. If you don't learn anything from me today, which would be professionally embarrassing, there is no such thing as an option strategy. All right, dude, now you lost me, Wiz. I enjoyed it up until now. You're wrong. In Iron Condor, a bear call spread, buying leaps, a straddle, Those are tactics. A strategy is higher level, folks. It's saving for college, saving for retirement, short-term income generation, buying a boat in 6 months. Those are strategies. Okay? Mike. Tactical employment. How are we going to employ this tactic? The same thing with mid-course guidance, folks. I never dropped a bomb in anger or squeezed the trigger on any real capital in a trade and closed my eyes and go, I hope that bomb goes where it's supposed to and doesn't kill innocent people. Do you think that's how we operate? We're not the Russians over Syria, folks. Or I don't squeeze the trigger on a trade and close my eyes and go, wow, I hope, I'm going to look at that on expiration and I hope it goes through the uprights. That's stupid, man. We talk before we ever get airborne in a trade about what we're going to do if and when it moves against us and at what price. At this price, I'd look to maybe adjust the trade. Roll it down, roll it out, roll it down and out. Or at this point, if it hits this, eject, get out. Look at the top left of the slide. Discipline, risk management. That results in superior execution. How many of you, if I say, hey man, if this trade hits $1.50, eject. And that's the max loss I'm going to. How many of you have gotten to around what you think you kind of don't want to lose more than, and you sit there and go, it'll come back. I mean, it's me. This trade doesn't hate me. Apple doesn't hate me. Apple doesn't care who you are, folks. They'd steamroll over your entire house and family. Who cares? You have to have a tight exit plan, and you stick to it. The sides of mountains and the bottom of the ocean are full of F-18s and dead aviators who flew past an exit point when they should have done something, and they took their emotions and said, you rule me now instead of my brain. I'm going to break you of all this stuff, okay? So there's actually, speaking of the F-18, there is the business end of an F-18. So I'm going to show you my trading cockpit right now. How much time do we have left here? I'm going to take a look and see how much speed. So we have about 30 minutes left. Good. So there's my trading or F-18 cockpit. Let me get to our trading cockpit. Quick strategic brief. When I do this for real, after you become a member today, and you can take a 2-week test flight. I'll tell you at the end, for the price of a bottle of Pinot Grigio, you get a 2-week test flight into my services. So here we go. We're going to, I'm on until 3:15. Oh, thanks for the heads up, Renee. Then I'm going to cruise. I'm going to have to, here's what I was talking about. So I briefed you on China. China, these are the headlines that you don't see that I monitor. The China foreign minister the other day, their Secretary of State said this. I have a suggestion for my American friends. Brush up on the history of World War II. Excuse me? Yeah, that's being said out there. Goldman Sachs, I told you, is trying to talk down this market, even though 2 Goldman Sachs guys are in the cabinet. Full disclosure, I know Khan and Mnuchin. I've had dinner with both of them. I'm the underachiever in the family. My sister runs Dune Capital in New York, and they were at Dune, and she got Woman of the Year in New York City. So I went to her dinner. I met these guys. So, but it strikes me as Goldman Sachs doing a little bit of a, we missed out on this rally, so we're going to tell you to sell it. Okay, let's go. Mike, guys, I'll take your questions at the end, man. Let me get through my brief here since I'm time limited. 45 minutes is not enough time for me to truly show you. That's why I'm going to give you a 2-week test flight to get into this, because like the primary live trade brief, it's an hour and a half. It's a half an hour of me giving you the strategic, all my intel gathering. Pretend you're a general or an admiral. Sit there with your cigar and get your intel brief. I love hearing this from my members. Like, Whiz, I don't even watch the news anymore. I get my news from you. So, rip your face off rally last Friday. Why? Undo Frankendod. There are, at peak 6, folks, there was like an entire floor of employees dedicated to what? Compliance. It's its own career now. It's almost like if we got a flat tax that you could put on a postcard, every American, do you know how many accountants and tax attorneys, everybody would be out of business? It's almost like that's why we don't do it, is because it's a jobs program. I digress. That makes me bullish. Look at this headline. Trump reforms are stuff of bankers' dreams. President launches regulatory overhaul that will please many on Wall Street. Holy crap, man, could you write a more bullish headline for financials? And like I said, the same idiots who got the election wrong and who also told you to sell the inauguration. So here's, this rip your face. Here's the hope rally. You want to talk about hope and change? Thank God that guy's gone. Here's your hope rally. Trump gets elected. Oh my God, I hope he's going to be friendly with Wall Street. Here's December. No volume, anything. Here's Steve, Rob, and Guido trading, the only three dudes trading between Christmas and New Year's, and then back. So this would be a neutral market. Here's a perfect example of volatile. What was this around here? Anybody remember in September? I do, of course. This was a Fed meeting. This was the Fed meeting where for the first time in a long time we thought she'd raise interest rates. Look how volatile all this was around there. And then the election. Okay? I have nailed everything to the left side of the chart. And I know that's kind of funny to say because, of course, you can look to the left side of the chart and say, I was right about this. I was. You can listen to all my recordings. You become a member. Everybody will tell you that I nailed all this. And I've been nailing it ever since. We go higher, folks, period. There is nothing out there. Here's what's funny is this kind of headline is, I'm worried. Right? I'm worried bearish traders are suffering Trump fatigue. This page is loading here. There's kind of this, I am worried and bearish. Just Trump fatigue. Folks, the media's having fatigue. They can't even keep up with the guy. He's done more in like his first 10 hours as president than that guy did in 8 years. Took him 8 years to destroy our country. This guy's trying to get back on track in a couple weeks. And people are like, sitting on their hands. Are you kidding me? Look at what JP Morgan said the other night. This was Wednesday night, folks. JP Morgan just can't stay awake in this market. Nothing's changing the equity narrative. What happened the next hours after JP Morgan put out that stupid report? Trump, literally, on his daily briefing, Trump says he will announce something phenomenal on taxes in the next 2 to 3 weeks. What happened to the market? Exploded. So you got all these guys sell the inauguration. Nope. And then you have, oh my God, this market's boring. There's nothing to change the equity narrative. Trump, huge tax reform in 3 weeks. What the market do? Rip your face off rally. So folks, the same idiots that make $100 million a year in bonuses that have gotten all of this wrong, don't listen to them. I ain't going to charge you $100 million a year, although the calls I've made, I just showed you some of my members, 60 grand. Mike's up 135 grand before he took half off. Are you kidding me? So let me get to a trade real quick because I only have 9 minutes. Strategic mindset, cautiously bullish. The target is the S&P 500. Folks, do not trade the SPY. I like trading the SPY. You're giving money to the government. It's stupid. I will leave it at this. There is different tax treatment between trading an index, the actual index, folks, the SPX, and trading an ETF. If you don't know what the difference is, you're losing money. I just paid for an annual subscription. Google this when you get a chance. What's the difference in taxes between trading SPX and SPY? I get that all the time. People are like, well, Whiz, I trade SPY. And I'm like, you like giving the government more money? It's stupid. So the tactic is going to be a bull put spread. Okay? Ray, how was the country destroyed in 8 years? Oh, we're going to have a good talk, Ray. We had a Dow hit record and low unemployment rate. Am I missing something? You're missing everything, Ray. You count the character of our country based on just the Dow? For Christ's sake, Ray, towards the end of this guy's administration, we were fighting about what type of bathrooms to have. Last time I checked, God gave us one or the other, not 8. But I digress. So I don't gauge necessarily destroying the company by the Dow going through the roof. And Ray, I'm one of the evil 1%. I printed money in the past 8 years, Ray. But as an American, that's not the metric of how good a country is. Enough. So this is called a bull put spread. I'm going to sell 15, why 15? Give me 45 seconds, of the March 3rd 2280 puts. Why'd I pitch March 3rd? What did I just tell you? Trump said in the next 2 to 3 weeks, he's going to announce something huge. It ain't rocket surgery, folks. Why don't we go out 3 weeks and put on a bull put spread? And I'm using the 2280. Look at this level right here. We gapped through 2280 right here. It was support here, and it's been a springboard up. Okay, so actually, no, let me move these strikes a little higher, to be honest with you. I went to 2290, 2285. I was going backwards. No, 9590s. Looking at my notes here. Okay, so what if you're wrong, Whiz? I kind of agree with a little bit of what you're saying, but what if a tweet of this, war with China in the next 3 weeks, anything could happen. Well, that's why I'm going to buy 15 of the March 3rd 2290 puts. Okay? If the market implodes, it's going to suck for us, but it's not going to suck that bad because we bought some puts. This is called a bull put spread. It's called a credit spread. Now I'm going to click create order. I use Options House, folks. Why? I helped build it. So you build, when I built the Options News Network, this was our sister company, Options House. So when I click on this analyze button on this trade, I want you all to look at one place and one place only. The sad face. You ready? Go. Max potential loss, $5,600. Why did you, Wiz, why'd you, I looked here first. I want to make 19. That's why you're a bad retail trader. 99.9% of you, if I didn't say look at the sad face first, would have looked where first? Don't ever look here first, because that's when you go, hell yeah, I'd like to make $1,900 in 2.5 weeks, Wiz. Who doesn't? Are you okay with losing 5,600? Hell no. Then why did you look here? For all of you, I told you I have an SOP at Top Gun. I don't want to risk more than $5,000 on any one trade. It's a little north. It's $600. I'm the pilot in command of this portfolio. I'm okay with that. If you're sitting there going, well, crap, I only want to risk $2,500, then maybe you do 8 contracts. Well, I only want to risk $20,000. Okay, then maybe you do 45 contracts. I can't tell what to do. I can't give financial advice. I'm trading for me. Now when I go, this max loss, I am okay with. Then I can look at max potential profit, which is $1,900. Okay, and then here's Mr. I'm okay. The break-even point, 22.9375. Okay, now these probabilities are completely off. Over the weekend, the brokers, changed their secret sauce and their numbers. There isn't a 0% probability of this occurring. As a matter of fact, let me show you the trade, because I sent it out as an alert the other day with my members. Let me show you this in the member section. Ray, it seems like in the last 3 weeks has been more chaotic than the last 8 years combined. Ray, that's because nothing really happened in the past 8 years, man. It's shocking to me that people are shocked that we elected a politician who's doing what he said he's going to do. Ray, I'd be executing the same way that Trump did. I'd be like, hey, here's where I think things are broken, and if I win, I'm going to fix them. Why do you need to take 8 years, 2 terms in office, when Trump did it, or Obama did his little farewell tour, he said he still had a bunch of work to do. I'm like, what the hell have you been doing for 8 years, dude? So if it seems chaotic, it's because we're not used to somebody being the CEO of this country and getting things done. Here's the trade with the real metrics. You ready? 71 this is the trade alert on my website. I send out a text and an email. Here's the email that they get. Screenshot of the trade. Here's the real metrics, since Options House is updating their volatility stuff right now. There's a 71% probability of making $1,900, folks. Raise your hand if you wouldn't mind making $1,900 in 2 Fridays. Okay, so there, and the break even, there's a 70, nearly 3 out of 4 times you do this trade, you're at least going to break even. This is a great trade. It is a highly potentially profitable trade. And as I showed you, some of my members, the weekly options members, are averaging $1,100 a week. That is my mission objective, by the way, is to average $1,000 a week in weekly options. That means 1 week we crush it, 1 week we might get crushed with a black swan event. Okay, I have 2 minutes left, guys. I rippled through that because I had to. This is an appetizer, man. This isn't even close to what we do here. So if you're interested in anything that I said, here's where you can go take your 2-week trials. Okay, just here's the website. It's a crazy address. You ready? TopGunOptions.com. So go to TopGunOptions.com, and if you're a skier, this will look familiar. Even if not, you probably understand it. If you would like to take a test flight into that accelerated retirement portfolio I showed you that was up 101% on risk last year, click on beginner. The intermediate is awesome. That's the primary live trade brief where I trade the front month. I trade leaps all the way out. Look at this JP Morgan trade, guys. This is what I wanted to show you. Here's one of my financial trades it's on. This is an 8-month trade that's been airborne. $25,000. This trade has made 25 grand in 8 months. Does anybody raise your hand if you'd like to make 3 grand a month potentially? So that's the intermediate trial. The advanced, it's not advanced because it's hard. It's advanced because I throw weekly options in here. Weekly options aren't, oh man, they creep me out. They're just, they have a shorter time value, so they're a little bit more, you got to pay attention to them. But that's my job, folks. I do it. You get a text alert, an email. Whenever I place trades, we have a weekly options live trade brief. If you sign up for this trial right now, I'll see you Monday at 1 o'clock. I'll trade for half an hour, put on maybe 1 to 2 trades. I always almost trade an S&P 500 trade and maybe an Apple or other weekly options trade. So that's the, quote, advanced trial. 38 bucks, literally a bottle of Pinot Grigio. The intermediate trial is 28 bucks. And then the beginner, I think, is 14. You can see kind of the math as it works. So, yep, this is 28 bucks for the intermediate trial. I mean, it's you actually the manuals you get are more than the trial, man. So let me finish since it's 3:15 and I want to be on time, on target. If you don't recognize that getting something for the next 2 weeks that's worth 375 bucks for 28, if you can't immediately say yes, don't do it. Don't think about it anymore and then do it, because we're not going to get along. I, as a good trader, know that that's a hell of a trade, okay? So if there's any, like, if that's your last 28 bucks, save it. But I just showed you, do we have losing trades? Of course we do. I actually talk more about my losing trades than my, quote, winning trades because we learned from them. But I just showed you the calls that I've made, the professional calls I made, and the money my members are making. They're beating me. I'm embarrassed by my goal. I finally got filled 3 months after most of my other members did, and I'm only up 10 grand in mine, while some of them are up 135 grand, okay? So, exactly, Mike, yeah, the weekly's more volatile, so it's a little, it's not advanced. I just did the ski slope nomenclature just to, because I like to be a skier, okay? Z, I'll just take one last question. I'll give it back to Renee. You say loss could be 5K, so what's your recommended account size? Z, you can get, I think at Options House, you can open a brokerage account with as little as 2 grand. I think the nice, and again, I'm not giving financial advice. I'm talking out loud to hundreds of people. I'm not talking to you, Z, specifically. You know, anywhere from, we have, I have actually we have a billionaire at TGO who shall remain nameless. We have multi-millionaires and we have people with 5 to 10 grand. So I showed you the one guy, everybody's trading 20 and 5 contracts at Goldman Sachs, making 100 grand, 60 grand. You saw the one guy who traded 1 Goldman Sachs contract, and I think the risk on that was about 2,500 Z, and he was up at the time of that screenshot about 8 grand. So just whenever you see that, you know, that's what I'm doing. Okay, so if Whiz is trading 15 contracts and risking 5 grand, and you only want to risk $1 grand, then maybe you do 3 contracts, okay? So, guys, I got to run because I don't want to eat in my next speaker's time. Go to topgunoptions.com and just scroll down a little bit and grab a trial. Like I said, if you have to, like, kind of think about it, it's okay. I'll give you the link for the $28 in the middle there. Everybody's asking about it. That would be a good place to start. If you're interested, and then you can always call our support line all the way down here if you want to upgrade or do like annual subscriptions. This is at least an offer for investor inspiration folks that are listening to me today. I don't like to test flights, to be honest with you. You either like it or you don't. You either believe everything I just said or you don't. Okay, but for tire kickers, there's your intermediate offer. The link's in the chat box, and I got to run. Renee, thanks again for inviting me. I appreciate it. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge, folks. And I hope to see many of you, if you do the advanced trial, Monday at 1 o'clock. Okay? So thanks again, Renee, and have a great rest of your weekend, folks.